So we are in week 3 of our 4-week series of Thanksgiving. And next week, Reverend Peggy will be with us speaking and sharing her ideas about Thanksgiving. The first week, we talked about giving thanks. And during that week, we looked at who we give thanks for and who we give thanks to, what we give thanks for, and what we give thanks to. And we looked at how we personally give thanks in our life. And so none of these ideas that we talked about that week or anything about Thanksgiving will actually go away, because they are all instrumental as to the way that we think so that we achieve the life that we love, the life that we desire. And so last week, our second week of talking about thanks, we talked about having a gratitude is a great attitude. Gratitude as a great attitude. And we used the quote from Ernest Holmes, which I'm going to share again, because we cannot get too much gratitude thinking. There is something in this attitude of thanksgiving that carries us beyond the field of doubt into one of perfect faith and acceptance, receptivity, and realization. And we looked at those concepts of faith, acceptance, receptivity, and realization. We got into it. That one we're going to get into more today. Our talk title today is Appreciation Ignites Actualization.
I had a great thought this week when I was reading something, and I came up with this idea that there is a tangled hierarchy between human mind and God mind. And sometimes our limited thinking contributes to a strangled hierarchy. Now, if you're not familiar with that terminology, tangled hierarchy, it has to do with upward and downward causation. In traditional spiritual belief, we believe that we pray and then good stuff comes down to us. That's called downward causation. It's saying that everything is created by God in our life experiences. And in Science of Mind, we believe that our thoughts are active and creative, and so therefore we have what's called upward causation. And so we have a flow going up, bringing our thoughts and wishes and desires and the way we picture life into divine possibility, and then it comes back down as downward causation. So there's a tangled hierarchy in which the two interact. So we are co-creators in our own reality. Upward and downward causation. Sometimes we tend to block the divine circuits by our unwillingness to accept what's coming to us, or our inability to actually express what we wish to experience, or our belief that we actually can receive that which we desire. And so to keep the divine channel clear and open, we have to know the flow and use the flow efficiently and keep the flow wide open all the time. Appreciation and gratitude keep us aware of the constant connection with universal source energy. If we feel we are not receiving, it's not because of punishment or anything that we did that was bad. It's because of the consequence of limited thinking. We don't realize that we are aware to receive anymore. And we know in Science of Mind we say, what we think about, we bring about. And if we think about limitation, that's what we receive. I found this in a book I was reading. Punishment is not found anywhere in nature. Punishment is not found anywhere in nature. Maybe nature, capital N, nature, is too big to be bothered with petty little problems, or maybe, to nature, hurricanes and volcanoes and problems are just a normal part of everyday life. Maybe nature sees it all as good, and maybe we should too see it all as good. Conditioning the mind to process incoming information and conditions and circumstances through appreciation, gratitude, compassion, and accepting everything that comes to us or through us as valuable learning experiences, we create a mental filter that is non-judgmental. And we're fully thankful and seeking only the positive in life. In this state of mind, we can accept even problems and tragedy with thanksgiving because of the lessons we have learned. And I've found that in the long run, many of the trials in my life have taught me more than some of the blessings. Also, I've found that maybe the trials and the problems and the tragedies actually were blessings all along. I just didn't see them that way. Therefore, I was clogging up the system. An appreciative, grateful attitude opens us up to the divine flow of good. It initiates the cooperative nature between us and universal law. Even if you're having trouble thinking of something to be thankful for, just act as if you're thankful. Look for a little, seemingly inconsequential, little thing like breathing. Or maybe your heart beating. Like the song earlier said, I'm thankful for my hands, I'm thankful for my eyes, I'm thankful for my life. If you keep doing these things, little by little, the appreciation and gratitude will open a channel a little. And a constant appreciative state of mind will create a constant flow of good in both directions, upward and downward.
And I too laughed when he first said that. And then I thought to myself, you know, how often do we actually think about our breathing or our heartbeat? How often do we think about that? It just happens automatically, so it could seem inconsequential, and yet it's not. And so giving gratitude for everything, feeling appreciative. So I want to look a little deeper at this idea of appreciation. What is it really? So appreciation defined is recognition and enjoyment of the good qualities of someone or something, and I would like to add to that, or yourself, recognition and enjoyment of the good qualities of you, of yourself, because if you aren't giving it to yourself, you can't give it to anyone else. Appreciation is also defined as a feeling or expression of admiration, approval, or gratitude. So let's define appreciation as a feeling of gratitude. And actualization, which we talked about a lot in Science of Mind, but we often call it realization. It's in our prayer or treatment, affirmative prayer. Actualization is the process of making something real or bringing it into existence. So an idea or a desire that you may have, and then you bring it into your life through your thought and through your feeling, and feeling is activated by that sense of appreciation. So creating a feeling of gratitude and appreciation within yourself attracts your desires into your life. Too often, I believe, that we are taught how to think wrongly during our early childhood. And it doesn't matter if our parents were wonderful parents or weren't even present. It doesn't matter, because it's how we take on the ideas and the things that happen when we're little and make them belief systems that we may have acquired a sense of how to think wrongly. I know that when I was little, I was told repeatedly that if I was a good girl, then Santa would bring me the right presents that I wanted. I would get what I wanted. Well, imagine the disappointment when they didn't arrive, and I thought I tried so hard to be a good girl. Yes? And it's not just good girl, it's good girl and boy, because my brother heard it too. And, you know, whatever the message is, whether it's that or whatever it is that tells us that we're not good enough, it is wrong. That is how to think wrongly. To believe, as David said, there is no punishment in nature. So you can't be punished by receiving something that isn't what you wanted. However, it still happens, doesn't it? And it is a reminder for us to go back and look at what is within us. I know that I'm not alone in this. How often do we hear people say that they have tried all these great outer activities, thinking that that was what they needed to do to be a good enough person or to attract good into their life. And they end up feeling like a failure, or they feel as if God didn't hear them or God doesn't care. And that is never true. It is always an opportunity for us to go within. So the reason is because the things we do in the outer are effects. They are not causes. And our society loves for us to show up being a kind, good citizen who shares our sunshine and kindness with others. And I'm not for a minute suggesting that we discard those behaviors. But what I am suggesting is that we realize when we perform an act of kindness, it is an effect. And what we want to dig into more is the cause back of it. So for an example, and maybe some of you are already thinking of things in your life, but for an example, imagine that I tell you that you're a great cook, and you simply start talking to me about something else you're going to be doing, and I begin to feel like it didn't even matter to you that I was showing my appreciation for you and consideration for you and being a good person. And the truth is, it may not. Because my appreciation for you is about me. And as soon as I gave up my power within it to feel like you did not react the right way, you did not respond the right way, I gave up my own appreciation. I gave up the cause, and I'll get more of the same. So the appreciation that I share with anyone else in my world must be felt by me. Ernest Holmes talks about how often what we require is money, friends, and physical healing. Those are all effects. I can't sit here and just say, oh, I know that I have lots and lots of friends. I have lots and lots of friends. And then go out and see all those lots and lots of friends. Because that's an effect. I have to align my thought with the law and know that I have lots of friends, whether they act like I think they should or not. Seek ye first the law. And I say that, I'll say the kingdom later. But what's the kingdom? The kingdom is the love and the law that God is, the way life operates. So we may need these things. We may need, as a human being, friends and to feel healthy, etc., etc. But they are effects of right relationships that we have inside ourselves to life. We have to get right with life inside ourselves. Many people are unhappy or lack a sense of permanent peace, and they may look outside themselves for things to make them happy, for things to make them feel secure and peaceful and good enough. While all along, it was right there inside of us, right there inside of them, you, me. Holmes tells us that it's illogical to think anything can rise higher than its source. So if we're thinking about the effect, we are thinking about the outer. And what we want to think about is the inner. How do I feel when I have done that? The universe is perfect, it's undivided, it's whole, and all effects take place when we are unified in our own mind with it. Seek an appreciation within for everything you do and say and give and share. Feel your own wholeness as you let Spirit become alive within you. Seek ye first the kingdom, and all else will follow.
I want to share something that Deborah said, and it sparked a new idea within me, just as she said it, and I thought it was pretty cool. And she said, appreciation is a feeling. And I remember we were talking about the divine creative process, the science of mind treatment that we do to bring about that which we wish to experience. And we know that thoughts are creative, but thoughts on their own don't really do much until we infuse them with a feeling. And appreciation is a very strong feeling. And if we take a basic thought and we appreciate that thought to this point where we actually believe it, then it manifests. That's how the creative process works. And I hadn't thought about that until you said that appreciation is a feeling. So, yes.
Now I'm going to tag on to that, because this is how God works. So all the times that we've practiced saying this back and forth, that whole idea that he just talked about is my whole next talk, my whole next part. And he thought it just came to him.
It must have hurt somewhere.
That idea came through him because of hearing it while we were working together on this. That is how God works. So it was already in him. He heard something, it activated it even more. And it works for all of us, all the time, when we're listening and following.
Well, I do listen once in a while.
You listen all the time.
In the old Anglo-Saxon language, thankfulness means thinkfulness. Interesting shift, isn't it? So changing our thoughts from everything that is wrong to acknowledging what is right in the world leads to a feeling of appreciation, gratitude, and peacefulness. Now, do you always feel that everything in the world is right and peaceful and beautiful? You know, if you don't, I have this little mechanism. It's called turn off the news. If the news is leading you to think the world is going to hell in a handbasket, that thinking is governing your reality. As soon as that thinking becomes a feeling, it becomes a very definite reality. And here's another little mechanism. Turn off the internet. All the information you're receiving from Facebook very likely may be coming from that guy down the street. And you know what kind of decisions he makes in his life, his choices. And maybe he's not the most reliable person to be basing your life theories on. So if you're listening to the news and you're listening to the guy down the street and your thinking is shifting in a direction as you don't much care for it to go, maybe you are greasing the pathway for that handbasket going into hell. You're allowing it all to happen. If you change the nature of your thoughts to appreciation and gratitude, what you think into the world will manifest in your experience. The universe works like AI. The AI will watch what you're following and watch what you're clicking into and make a note of that, and then it will send you more of that. The universe exactly works the same way. As you put positive energy into the universe, it gives you positive energy back. If you're thinking positive energy all the time, that's what you're going to receive. And like I said before, if you can't think of anything good or right going on in the world, start with the fact that you are still in it. And you happen to be a good and right thing. Move on with that pattern until the wrong things tend to melt away into the nothingness hype from which they came. I've been reading a book lately. It's really fascinating, and you're probably going to hear a lot more about it in the next few weeks. But it says that modern science is showing us that all the challenges we're facing, such as climate change, financial challenges, and go on down the list, and so on, are part of the evolutionary problem, evolutionary pattern. We're actually due for a new world order around 2030, this author suggests. We're moving into another developmental system similar to the extinction of the dinosaurs, the Enlightenment, and the Industrial Revolution. What we're experiencing is not the end of the world, thank God. but the transition from one era to another. New thought teaching is preparing us for this new awakening, but we'll have to release old paradigms to accept the new ones. And those new ones follow quantum consciousness. Quantum consciousness has proven that our thoughts have creative energy. This is one of the primary aspects of the new evolving world. We are guiding the process. We're actually steering the ship here now, and we are at choice to lead it in a handbasket to hell or rise to heaven on earth. It's our choice. What do we choose to think about? What do we choose to create in this life as we know it? Appreciation and gratitude are a great start in the right direction. Would you not agree? Practice those, practice those, practice those, practice those. Think only these things. It said in the book, maybe the 10 Commandments are too many. All we really need is one reminder. We're all in this together. And it talks about the unity of life working together to make a difference in the universe. Global consciousness can actually move the world.
I like that book. I'm glad you're reading it and sharing. So when I first heard that section of his, and he talked about greasing the path to hell, I had this picture of a water slide and greasing it all up, and then when you get to the bottom you're so excited and then you fall into a pile of mud or something worse, because that's the hellhole, right? But we're at choice whether we ride that slide or not. And it's looking to the inner. So let's go to the thoughts and feelings aspects. Our founder, Ernest Holmes, refers to a mix of thought and feeling, saying that the two blended act as the cause that creates our conditions and experiences, as they operate through a universal law of cause and effect. Our feelings are an integral part of the mental activity that impacts our reality. Appreciation, our title today, ignites actualization. So when we are in that inner space and we don't let anyone or anything upset it or shift it on us, we hold to that, then what we actualize as an end result is going to be beautiful. Now, maybe we take that greased slide to hell a couple times before we get to that point. But the point is that you get to that point, and you get to that point through your own thinking. So appreciation ignites actualization because we think and feel a sense of gratitude for our life. Life reveals more joy, peace, and love. This law of cause and effect, which is mental and spiritual in nature, operates with us through our feeling and our thought. One might say appreciation ignites animation, because when we appreciate something or someone, it stirs a feeling within us, and we become animated in it. And don't let anything outside of you move you beyond there. Stay there, regardless of what anyone else says or does. Now, I know we slip sometimes. We ride that grease slide David talked about it to hell. I know. But we know when we go there, don't we? We know because the results we're experiencing. The animated behavior of gratitude propels us toward a greater experience of enjoying our life. Haven't you noticed that happy people are usually happy and appreciative of things, even in the midst of apparent difficulty or hardships? They just are. They find something to be grateful for. The feeling of gratitude is among the strongest and most affirmative spiritual energies, and it is at our command. we always get to decide what we're thinking. And I remind myself that every time I have to get a shot. That I can think about, oh no, or I can think about walking through a beautiful garden while it's happening. I can slide down that grease slide to hell, or not. I love your imagery. So when you feel a deep sense of gratitude, you are actually focusing your creative energy and bringing it to bear in your own life. A thankful heart is in harmony with life. So together, let's say, I appreciate my life.
I appreciate my life.
And let's hold to it all week until we hear Reverend Peggy share what she has to say about Thanksgiving.